This is going to be like, I guess, a black pill. I don't know. It's just going to be a realization or a recognition of death. Of, like, the world has ended. The world has died. There is no going back. There is no hope of it ever being restored other than through, total death, total loss, total lack of what you're programmed to feel is a win condition. Like whatever your hopes are spiritually, politically, financially, like there's no way out at this point for any of us other than through this death process, right? Which hopefully you could have faith that it'll reveal new life, right? And if there's life after death, then that's obviously also eternal life, right? So in some sense, like the world falling apart or everything collapsing is the doorway into heaven. And it's like, I think you gotta see the failure of the world before you can begin on this spiritual path, right? And if you look at what happened with the prosperity and the cultural cohesion of the last century, it was largely mediated by TV. And that's how people were capable of engineering an extremely high trust society in a place with no tradition and no culture like America. So you have everybody watching the exact same TV shows, consuming the exact same propaganda, consuming the exact same holiday cycle. Everyone's being taught the same standard curriculum. You have to get over is that stuff right or wrong? It's just the same vibrations, the same tone, the same curriculum was being given to everybody, regimented style in all the schools. The academic course is pretty much the same no matter where you went. You were exposed to the same frequencies in the same order, right? Then everyone would go home and watch X-Files at the same time, listen to the same music at the same time on the radios, the same top 40, the same music videos on MTV, and everybody saw the same thing. And so this is the same as everyone's being imprinted with these vibrations, and they're all exactly the same tempo, the same pace. So of course you feel a pretty strong vibe or relationship with everyone. Everyone's seeing the same movies at the same time, right? Like guys used to talk in like movie quotes. There's like a phase where people talked and thought entirely in terms of movies. How they would analyze their life, how they would analyze events, situations, hanging out with friends. Which movie was it like, right? And this and some of these movies are mystery plays, right? Like The Matrix is like an occult mystery play. A lot of them are these like occult mystery play dealing with esoteric matters. And so everyone's being initiated into the same mystery plays. Think back in Rome or in pagan societies and stuff like that, and you would have rituals and liturgies and stuff, and people would have these experiences that would get them to like vibe at the same level. And when they vibed at the same level, they became the same organism. So they were unified in the same organism. And you look at all this completely identical vibe that America got from the TV, that got from the screens. The screens were this like amazing device to induce perfect, synchronized like meta organizations at the country, at the city level, at the nation level. The TV was this way of getting everybody on the same page, millions of people all on the same page, and not just in terms of like what they're doing, but their sense of being, like there's a shared sense of being. Even if that shared sense of being was being generated by like a dinosaur baby and going, not the mama, right? Like everybody had that shared sense of being. And then you have, and that's exported everywhere. So everybody all over the world is watching TV. sharing in the same occult rituals, like the big news events, the big political things. And then you have the invention of these screens, these tiny screens where everyone's getting their movies in a different order. Nobody's watching anything together at the same time. People, even when they're watching the same thing, it's in different clips, different orders, different takes, different opinions, different everything. And so everyone has a radically different sense of being. And then the kids that come out of this and they go, oh, my sense of being doesn't fit in anywhere. My sense of being isn't the counterpart to the masculine or the feminine. I have no gender. Like I have no shared sense of being with anybody. This explosion of queer, just queer. What is queer other than my sense of being does not fit here. I'm not on a rhythm with anybody else. Right? Like the school doesn't take everyone's getting quote unquote neurodivergent. It's because humanity is a single organism. And the more on rhythm you are, which is like doing breathing meditation or whatever, to get all the cells in the body on the same rhythm, on the same breath, on the same heartbeat, causes this coherence. So it's the same thing that happens at the organism level of being kind to other people, like reading like your scriptures, reading your important works of art, doing that stuff that's getting everybody in the same being. It's like you're born, and then there's more that you have to do. You have to have this process by which you get on the same wavelength as the rest of humanity. Right? Some parts of that wavelength is doing sacraments that get you on the wavelength of things that have happened in humanity's past. Like things that have happened in the past, if you encounter them, in a packaged mythological form, it gets you on that, it taps you into that wavelength, which is humanity's shared wavelength. So with the screens, that what was previously drastically facilitated by the media and the art and everything that was bringing everybody together, the screens are ripped everybody apart into different realities, different vibrations, different frequencies. Right? This is the world dying. This fabric, this shared frequency, the shared frequency of humanity is what you would call Christ. That's the shared human frequency of humanity. Christ consciousness. That's the thing that pulls everybody together at this deep, deep level. And then at a shallow level, everyone watching The Simpsons at the same time on the same night is also pulling everyone together. But also watching all these mystery plays, all these sitcoms, all these news events, all of these whatever, with all these infinitely different takes at infinitely different times and infinitely different rhythms, is ripping the fabric of humanity apart. It's like that was being ripped apart, right? And that's the goal of polarization of the fabric. The goal, so if you're going to do psychological warfare, the goal of psychological warfare is to take the country which has a shared sense of being, target that sense of being, and then insert something so that half of the country has one sense of being and the other half has another sense of being. It's the sense of being that holds people together. And then if you have two sense of beings, you have to start using legal frameworks to get them to operate together. So if you can induce two senses of being in a country, you've initiated a civil war. Whether it goes completely hot or not, they no longer work together, it's fighting against each other. So in this fourth or fifth generational warfare or whatever, it is the interruption of these rhythms that precipitate a shared sense of being. Right? That's why it's all so anti-Christ, anti-Christian, anti-nationalism, the only way that men and women have a shared sense of being is through coupling and relationship and sex. So if you can make it so that people are not relating in that way, then you get it so that men and women are fighting. You get different you get the different political camps to fight, the different ethnicities, by removing the ways by which they had a shared sense of being. And we used to have shared sense of being around great works of art, so everybody sees the same movies at the same age, and then so you can generate enough slop, enough noise, enough like razzle dazzle that everyone's watching AI clips that nobody's ever going to watch them again. It does nothing to resonate with the shared sense of being. And then you even have stuff like COVID, COVID. It was, I remember us I had a certain shared sense of being with my town, and that just ripped it in half to where it's like, wow, we share no sense of being. And it went in at this biological kind of disgust level of the way that we fear diseases or pathologies or death, right? So that COVID operation, literally, it ripped every country in the world in half so that they have two shared senses of beings. It weakened every country in the world by half. Unless the country really all got it, then it pulled the countries that responded all in complete panic or all in complete resistance, together. And then it's so polarized, it pushes people into these different realities where the shared sense of being solidifies, and never again will they be able to relate because of the entire system of assumptions that something like being for or against COVID requires. So shared sense of being ripped in half, you're fundamentally dealing with two different subgroups of people in every single country now. And that's the direction of a lot of different conspiracy theories and things like that. It's not necessarily one or the other, but you do something that gets the country to fragment or whatever. If you do operations, if you put things in the news that only the top 10 or 20% or whatever of people are going to understand or have the pattern recognition for, if they see it and nobody else does, and they're having a different experience watching different things, all of a sudden polarized, and you separate the intelligent people from the different types of intelligence. You can separate different types of intelligence by causing these polarized events that separates the true experts or the true helpers from the rest of the body. And AI is the most aggressive way to do this, to fragment humanity's shared sense of being. Although it'll probably maybe pull it together, similar to how TV did. TV pulled everyone together for some time because they were all listening to the same thing at the same time. But eventually that's used to if you could use AI to reveal the true narrative or whatever to everybody in such a way that everybody agrees or everybody believes on, you'll have massive unity through the AI. And then once the AI is more deeply integrated similar to the cell phones, like how the TV was more deeply integrated into our life with the individual cell phone rather than the communal TV in the family room. Once that was more integrated, it caused more separation, more division. So the AI, once it's deeper integrated, I don't know, into the chips or into the individual personality AIs that feed off of each individual personality, will probably fragment everything apart again. But whatever world we lived in when I was growing up is gone. That unity is gone. America is gone. every nation was shattered into 2, 3, 4, 5 different things, at least in terms of their shared sense of being. The religions were broken. That's these big conglomerates, right? You still have like the Amish, you're still going strong, probably Mormons. But these big ones like America or Europe or any of these nations in Europe, in addition to the importing of like all these immigrants that don't assimilate, that's two different senses of being. That's why you're fighting over locals and immigrants. It's not who's going to win, it's just that there's a fight. If there's a fight going on inside the country, then there's just the world has been blown apart by these psychological weapons of like mind control. And these psychological weapons are how to cause people to cohere and to feel as one sense of being, or to shatter that sense of being apart. That's why all the elites engage in these insane initiation rituals, because it causes them to have a single sense of being. So they're infinitely loyal with each other. They work together in these ways that are like only seen on amazing sports teams that have done lots of team building. Right? You go to these parties, you get involved in this blackmail and stuff like that, and it causes you to have a single sense of being, an unbreakable bond. All of the elites have an unbreakable bond with each other because they're all entangled in these like secrets and blah 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 and ritual and what have you, whereas all the plebeian people are only allowed to form into aggregates to the degree that it's useful. So you just use the screens or the technologies to program the people to form into these large aggregates and get them to go around and build and do stuff and go to war, and everyone's you have the elite class that's like bound together with these like occult rituals and ancient magic, and then the aggregate, the being of every other person on earth has been shredded apart into individuality that can be literally programmed. Because if you ingest the same programming as a bunch of other people, that inserts a vibration into you where you have a shared sense of being. So people can send out programming that induces vibration into people and then causes those people to aggregate or clump into a single sense of being. If everybody watches the same play, if everyone has the same experience, when people share the same experience, they have a shared sense of being, especially traumatic or intense experiences. And so this is just what's happening. There's absolutely no stopping it. But as the sense of being decays, that's death. And so from death comes new life. So this shared from the death and from the chaos, right? Like, yes, these people might have killed us. They might have shattered our shared sense of being. And the only reason they were capable of shattering it was because we accepted it. all the nations, all the countries gave up their shared sense of being, their nationality, their religions, their mystery plays, their art, gave it up and replaced that with this new stuff. And so once it's been replaced, like because the new stuff gives you even a stronger sense of being. Like, oh my God, we both watched The Sopranos. We all watched Battlestar Galactica. Very tight shared sense of being. Everyone listened to Coldplay. But then once you remove that, there's zero shared sense of being. There's no folk music. Nobody's doing liturgy. Nobody's doing right. It's a very the technologically shared sense of being is very powerful, but also very shallow and subject to reprogramming, subject to a whim of whoever's in control of it. So the whole myth is already played out. Everyone gave up their soul already. Everyone gave up their soul. And then the death is already, the global fragmentation has already happened. The COVID has already happened. The scattering of the LGBT Netflix, like Amazon Prime streaming slop farm has already happened. The AI video apocalypse has already happened. Everything, the technology, instead of bringing us together, is ripping everyone apart into all these different camps. And this is the intention behind it. It's the weapon behind it. It was the intent from the beginning. The intent from the very beginning has always been to, how do I control these masses who give birth to all these different deities and gods and these forces, like the mass of humanity, all these different the sense of being that just suddenly births and upwells in the population, which gives rise to nation, which gives rise to ideologies, which give rise to groups. It emerges out usually from a single person and then causes a shared sense of being as it spreads. That would be what Christianity was. But if you lose it, it perverts it. It doesn't pull people together. It fragments them. And in all senses, every sense of being pulls some people in and spits some people out. But everything's kind of over, at least from the standpoint of my sense of being, what I was as a kid, or like what I was in 2015 is gone. And I suppose this is always happening. Maybe not always, like this is unusual to have the sense of being of your nation, to have the sense of being of your your race and your identity and all this stuff that I got deracialized when I was a little kid. I was denationalized when I was a little kid. All these senses of being have already been like ripped out. And then if everyone's just mindful or pays attention to this moment right here, which is the same for everyone would get on the same shared sense of being. It's just people are being abducted and sucked into the paying attention to the thoughts of the AI slop of the movies. And that's demon worship, was when you're not paying attention to here, what this is, you're paying attention to an idea. If other people are paying attention to that idea, you seem to have the same shared sense of being, even though you might be ignoring the shared sense of being that you have in this moment. So these idea, Christ would be the shared sense of being that people find when they look inward to their heart in this moment, in this reality, like right here, into the water. And then the Antichrist would be the singular idea that holds everyone together. Like the thing that people worship outside of themselves that causes a shared sense of being. And you can't worship the self to cause a shared sense of being, because if you're worshiping the self, you're not the self. You can't worship you. So if you're worshiping yourself, if you're self-centered, you're disassociated. And then even if you get yourself to share a sense of being or to be full or complete or whatever, you're still disassociated. So you don't share in that sense of being. Hence the like infinite misery. But everything is fake and gay and over. It's all gone. Everything's already been ripped apart. Everyone's already isolated and separate and fragmented beyond imagination. This hill is so long. My ears pop when I drive back down this thing.